Hey, everybody, and welcome back to We Need to Talk About This. I'm your host, Chuck Oliveris. My voice is a little dry tonight because the allergy thing in our area is really, really bad. Hey, this is episode 35. Last week, we were up in Sacramento at Cousin Matto's house, and we did a broadcast from his Matty O's bar in his garage, and most of you saw it. It was a pretty cool bar, and we had a lot of fun with the family being the audience out there in the Matty bar. I was trying to get him back on here with me this week, but I just got back too late. I had a bunch of stuff going on, and he had to go to Betty Bye because he works for Pacific Railway, so he's got to get up real early and ride those trains. So he'll be back probably next week, but we threw a little podcast for you together this week just to make sure we had something new for you. If you watched the last podcast from Maddie's bar up there in Sacramento, we were talking about the Doobie Brothers lead singer, Michael McDonald. Well, Michael McDonald obviously has a very unique voice, and I think I showed one of the memes of him as a McDonald's drive-thru guy, and he was like, "You don't know me, but what's your order?" And we were laughing about that and stuff. But I was trying to tell you guys on that podcast as well that Maddie had sent me a clip from the Conan O'Brien show where they had this guy that was supposed to be like the Michael McDonald camp counselor, if you will, right, for a kids camp. And it was a hilarious clip. And I want to play it for you guys. You won't be able to see it, but you got to listen to it because it's hilarious. So just in your mind, imagine Michael McDonald as a kids camp counselor. Let's play this little soundbite from Conan O'Brien. It's pretty funny. Let's take a listen.
Where we see a camp run by Doobie Brothers' former lead singer, Michael McDonald. No idea. Let's see.
You don't know me, but I'm your counselor. We'll be living back in bunk one. Make sure you pair up with your buddy. Stay inside the area. If you go outside the ropes, you'll be asked to leave the water.
The guy who does it is so spot on. He sounds like Michael McDonald, but it just kills me. And then they end it with something about the chocolate chip cookie, but it's hilarious. If you want to look it up on YouTube, check it out. Michael McDonald camp counselor soundbite from Conan O'Brien. It's absolutely hilarious. So what do we need to talk about this week? Man, I got all kinds of stuff. It's been a long week for us. We are in preparation to make a huge move over to the East Coast somewhere around September, October. The sooner the better for me. We've been up here in our little town for about 14 years, and we have this great opportunity I talked about before that my in-laws are giving us. So we're going out to live in 43 acres in the woods out in North Carolina, outside of Fayetteville, in a little tiny town called White Oak. And I'm very excited about that. I've lived in the South before. I've talked about it. And so we're excited to start a new life there and living kind of out in seclusion. So it's going to be a good time and stuff. So in preparation for that, we had to do a yard sale or an estate sale because we finally figured out that the house back there we're going to already has some furnishings in it, and we have a lot of stuff we've collected in our home here. So in looking at renting, you guys, we looked at U-Hauls, right? From here, which is Three Rivers, California, all the way out to North Carolina. It's like a little over $6,000 for a truck to load up with all your shit. Well, the fact of the matter was not all of our shit would even fit in that house over there. Even though that home is a 3-bedroom and it is long, it has room, we just have a lot of stuff. So basically we kind of made the decision that it was time to purge things and scale down all the stuff I've been collecting over the years. Most of you know I'm a huge Batman fan. When you start collections like that, people give you stuff for years and you collect it. And right here in my studio, my podcast studio here, it's kind of been my Batman room too, and I had stuff everywhere. So long story short, we decided, we looked into the U-Haul thing. We looked into a pod, getting ready or thinking of getting rid of some things and not everything. But even those pods were super expensive because we're going a long ways away. So basically what we thought was, let's just liquidate everything and let's just start fresh, man, because California's eating us alive, as well as everybody else that lives in the state. Grocery prices, gas prices, and everything. It's a lot cheaper there. The wages, are lower there. But I'm living off Social Security check, and I will have a lot more money out there than I do living here, which also provides opportunity for us to travel a little bit and do some other things that we probably would never be able to do had we stayed here in California. So that's the deal. We're going to be moving. We decided to do this estate sale, sell everything we have and just start new stuff on the other end, because we'll have the means to do that. So we made that decision. We said, okay, so this weekend we prepped for an estate sale. I've never done one of these. My stepmother recently had to do this at her place when my father passed. And we talked about that a couple episodes ago. And it's a really hard thing to do. You have to make the decision, first of all, that you can't take all these things with you. So let's scale down and let's just kind of do, what we can and get rid of what we can and make some traveling money and all that kind of good stuff. So we did it. And I got to tell you, it was the most interesting thing I'd ever done. I'm sure I've done garage sales. I've done yard sales. But in a estate sale, you're selling everything, right? Your couches, your beds, everything, right? So we did the first one this weekend. It was funny because we were setting up for it on Saturday and getting the garage ready. And of course, people still had to come into the house to see things that were for sale in here because I ain't trying to move my whole damn, house out into our driveway and the garage. But I had never done one of these. What I realized was it's a lot of work, number one. And number two, the people that I met while we're doing this estate sale was cracking me up. It was very interesting. I had another friend, a couple friend of mine down here, Micah and Michelle from Fresno, and they came and bought a few things and then they hung out for a little bit. Pardon me. But these people, you guys, these people that go to these estate sales and these yard sales are so serious. I mean, they ain't fucking around, okay? These people come in groups. Some of them came in groups of 10, and I'm sure they all meet every weekend and go, hey, let's go to that yard sale, and then we'll go to this one. I mean, it's a great deal. I mean, we like yard sales. We like to go to garage sales and stuff and estate sales. But it's just interesting the different types of people that you meet. There was an Asian lady that I had not met before who lives above my home up on the hill here. And I've never seen her before. She's married to a gentleman that is a veteran and was a POW and all this. Anyway, she was telling us my husband doesn't like me to come to these things. I want to buy that. I want to buy that. I want to buy that. She goes, he's in the car over there outside the driveway, but I want him to come see this gun. Well, the gun he was talking about was Dalton's pellet gun, and it's a pellet gun rifle. And so there's her husband, the Army vet. She goes and gets him and says, oh, I want to show you gun. I want to show you gun. He's like, oh, you got a gun. So the old guy walks up the driveway, takes him about 20 minutes to come down the driveway to the house. He's walking real slow. And I knew the old guy didn't even want to get out of the damn car. He was just appeasing his wife by letting her come and pick a few things. And so they're looking at stuff and she's discussing what she wanted and this and that. And so then she takes him and she goes, look at gun. And she pulls the pellet gun rifle out and shows it to him. And he looks at her and he goes, that's a pellet gun. I'm a Vietnam veteran, a POW. I don't want a goddamn pellet gun. And it was hilarious because she seemed all disappointed that he wasn't thrilled by the gun, but she didn't know it wasn't a real gun. I don't know what she thought it was. She was cute as hell. In fact, I told Michelle, my friend Micah's girlfriend, I said, you know who she reminded me of? That Asian lady in Friday 2, when Ice Cube comes into the cul-de-sac and she's like, what's up, Craig? Yeah, you doing, Craig? Yeah. She reminded me of her. She was real short like that, but married to this, Vietnam vet guy. And he was a hoot too. And then I had a pair of security boots, police boots, security boots. I believe they're called Rockets or something. Brand new. All my years in security and stuff, I had to have those kind of things. And I had a brand new pair that were still in my closet. So I thought, well, I'll sell them. She tries to talk her old man into those. And again, he looks at those and he goes, those aren't military boots. Those are Rockets. And then he goes, it's a good boot, but it's not a boot that some military guy is going to wear. So he just made her feel stupid. She thought she was going to get him hooked on one of these two things, and then maybe she'd be able to buy a little bit more. But it's so crazy because these people that come to these things, they're so interesting. All of them are different. And I think one of the things I told somebody was the thing that tripped me out was what the people bought. You'd look at some of them and then they'd say, how much is this? And oh, whatever, blah, blah. They'd buy it and it would be something totally obscure that you would not think, looking at them, that they would buy. So the whole experience for me was new. It was really weird. But here's the thing, you guys. It was a huge success. We made a bunch of money. That's our travel money to get across the U.S. to North Carolina. And we did fairly well. Now, of course, we'll have to have another one in a couple months because, we have a bunch of kitchen stuff. We're going to be selling everything in our kitchen. So until then, we got to use it, right? We still got to eat and stuff. We did sell our dining room table, but we still have a little table and 2 chairs to use. So, we're just winging it. I mean, basically, we've got 4 months. So a move like this, it's a huge thing. And preparing for it is crazy. But we got that first estate sale done. And I just was tripping off the types of people that come to that thing. And just so interesting to see the way people are. I have to say, people were very, very nice. And I met a lot of the local people in my town I hadn't met before, which is really unusual after 14 years because we thought we knew everybody already. But yeah, if you've ever had an estate sale or if you ever had a garage sale, you probably know what I'm talking about. So that's what my week was like. And it just was a long week. And I'm super tired and I'm just kind of burned out a little bit. But so we're working toward that. We got a couple months. It goes pretty fast. 4 months goes pretty fast. So I'm trying to get a jump on it. We're trying to get a jump on it so that we don't have much to clear out of the house and we can just get in the car and get on our way out there. So new experiences, new life, new area. And, we'll find our tribe out there. We'll find a new tribe. Somebody said to me, aren't you going to miss all your friends out here? Hell yeah, I'm going to miss all my friends out here. Not going to miss all of them, but the good hardcore circle of friends that we have and love, yes, of course. And I'm really, really hoping that those really good friends will put their trailers behind their truck and do a road trip out to the Carolinas and come see us because we got plenty of room for them to park a trailer next to the house, or we got an extra bedroom if they want to stay. So I'm hoping they will come that way and we'll get to spend some more time with some of the great people that we love here dearly. So yeah, that's what my week was like. Hey, talking about funny stuff, I saw this little meme and I was showing it to Dalton and he kind of cracked me up because if you're a parent, right, of a child, I know like my friend Kevin and his girlfriend Sam just had a baby boy a couple months ago and he's already up running around and walking now, cute little guy. But if you have a child, you know that when the baby is small, they're kind of hard to change their diaper because they move around a lot, right? Their arms are always going and everything. And I saw this meme, you guys. I'm going to throw it up right now for you guys on Spotify and stuff that can't see it. It's a little baby. They're getting ready to change the diaper. And they found a very creative way of stopping the child from moving around while they change the poopy diaper. So the guy takes his 2 25, his weights, like his little, what do you call them? Dumbbells, 25-pound dumbbells. And he puts the baby's arms under the 2 dumbbells and he just kind of holds the baby's arms down with him while he changes the diaper. And I said, that's brilliant, because, you know, I've changed babies before and they're moving around and they're all wild and stuff. And Dalton looked at it for a few minutes and he goes, I don't think that's okay. I was like, what? I think it's brilliant. Hold that little baby down. It's only for a few minutes, just so you didn't get poo flung on you or something. So that was cute when I saw that. I thought that's pretty hilarious. And then I was looking at something else the other day, and the guy had an old golf trophy, right? But it was broken. So I'm going to show you what it looks like now that it's broken. So you see this statue, and it says, so the putter broke off my golf trophy. Now it looks like I won a wanking competition. Don't ask me where I came. I was like, oh my God. Imagine you walk into the house, even if you know the guy's a golfer, you'd see this and be like, what the hell's that guy doing? It looks like he's holding his wanking it, but it's supposed to be a putter or something in there. I thought that was pretty funny. And I think I've seen a couple trophies that were broken that looked weird like that before too. So that was too much. And then, of course, one of my favorite memes is always the memes where they show the old children's books. You know what I mean? And then you see these obscure titles that say crazy stuff. So this one cracked me up. A little children's book here, and it says, care to see a drawing of my dick? And you see the guy with a pad of paper, and he's drawing a dick and balls on the paper. And, of course, it looks like a children's book. Of course, we do not condone giving books like this to children. And we definitely don't condone drawing pictures of your dick. You don't need to do that anymore. Social media now. Yeah, so those were pretty funny and stuff. I wanted to tell you something that tripped me out because, you know, I'm a bartender too. The new trailer for the new Final Destination movie shows a bar where a glass breaks and the glass all falls into the ice in the bin. And that's the little teaser for part of the new Final Destination. Well, I can tell you that this happens from time to time when you're attending bar and you got to burn what we call burn the ice, which is melt it all down because God forbid you scoop up some ice and make somebody a drink and they got a big, large piece of ice in there. So that tripped me out because I thought somebody who was a writer for that movie has bartended and had that happen, because that's like the craziest shit. When it happens, you're like, oh, fuck my life. Now I have to burn all this ice. I'm slammed busy. You know, you're slinging drinks. Now you got to stop, get rid of that ice, clean the whole thing out, fill it again, and get back, you know, get control is what me and my buddy Daniel say. We must establish control again at the bar. But I saw that for the trailer in that movie, and I thought that's crazy. Somebody who's writing that movie probably has had that happen to them. So look out for that new Final Destination. That's going to be a pretty interesting film. So another meme I saw reminded me, a lot of our town has vacation rentals. Some of us clean those vacation rentals on the side for money under the table. And they're really just flips, right? People are doing 1 or 2 night stays. You're going in, just changing the sheets, washing the old stuff, putting it away, and getting ready for the next flip, and so and so. But the hardest thing in the world, and I think a woman will tell you this, have you ever tried to fold a fitted sheet? So the fitted sheet is the sheet that goes around your mattress with the elastic part that, you know, hugs the corners and all that shit. And my friend Deanna Heaton, she showed me about 4 times when I started doing this stuff how to do that. She kept saying, you got to point your fingers. You got to point your fingers. And I'm like, Mama, I'm pointing my fingers. I still can't get this fucking sheet. So I saw this meme, and I'm going to show you real quick. It says, when you give up trying to fold your fitted sheet. And this girl looks like it's some sort of a Kim Kardashian outfit on a red carpet. It's just a sheet. And it looks like a big flower around it. But it made me think of that, because I would tell mom all the time, I still can't get it right. I know she goes in behind me and cleans some of these places. And when she pulls out the new sheet, she probably looks at my fitted sheet and she goes, up, Chuck must have done this one last. It's the hardest thing in the world to fold a fitted sheet neatly. I might have to have her just come on the podcast and show us all how it's done, because she is the master, that's for sure. So that's something that we're going to have to look at maybe doing. So then I saw this meme, and it's got this girl, for those of you on Spotify, and I heard they can't see on YouTube, it says wakey wakey, and it looks like it's a female, and she's got one of those metal nose rings clamped in her nose there, and somebody is holding up a 9-volt battery to zap her with it. And I thought to myself, I so want to do this. And I'll tell you why, because I got a million friends, a million girlfriends with these things in their nose, a couple guy friends with these things in their nose, and I hate them. I just don't think they're, I don't know why. I don't know why people like them. I just don't. I don't think they look great, and it bugs me. But dude, this whole 9-volt battery, I'm going to start carrying one, and I'm just going to secretly go up and go bzz, bzz. Because you do know that if you take a 9-volt battery, most of us know this, stick your tongue out, that's how you tell if it's still charged or not, because it gives you a little buzz. But when I saw that, I thought, man, I got so many friends with that piercing there in their nose. I just want to, we'll have to try that. Maybe we can get that on film and share that with you. I hear something kind of provocative. There was somebody that took a shot of this picture, and it's under a freeway overpass. And it says, what you're seeing is it's a freeway underpass where a homeless guy has a mattress there. And what he has done is taken a spray can and painted a dresser on the wall, a TV. He's painted a window, which is open a little bit. Another little nightstand thing that looks like a bird cage with a bird in it. And it says right on this picture, painted by a homeless man, one of the most thought-provoking and poignant pieces of public art. And I wanted to share it with you because I thought, to me, when I saw that, I thought it was kind of sad, but also creative, right? Because you got to wonder to yourself, man, guy's sleeping under the freeway, and then he drew that just to make himself feel maybe a little more like that was home or whatever. So I thought that was pretty good. Sometimes I see things and it just knocks me right off my chair. And this next thing I'm going to share with you is one of those things. So this guy says, when I was a kid, we didn't have any fancy body wash. We all had to use the same bar of soap that our dad washed his ass with. And if you swore, you got your mouth washed out with that same bar of soap. Yeah. That's a nasty thought, isn't it? It's true, though, if you're old like me and you cussed when you were a kid. I mean, my mother used to take the bar of soap and then scrape it like on the bottom of my teeth so that all that soap, and you'd be like, oh, God, I'll never swear again. Of course, for me, that didn't work. The soap wasn't that bad. And I think she started using like hot sauce, like Tabasco and stuff after that. Shaking a bunch of that shit in your mouth, cussing and stuff like that. It was hilarious. Old school ways, right? My mother actually put me in a garbage can one time when I was being a little shit. She put me out in the backyard, and then she made me get in the garbage can, put a pillow on my head, and closed the lid. Now, you may think that that's crazy. My mother was a mean mother that was like abusive. She wasn't. She was hilarious. She had a great sense of humor. But that particular night, she did that to me. The neighbor, Mr. Galindo, was walking down the driveway, and when he came around the corner by the back porch, he saw my mother opening the lid to let me out, and I had this pillow on my head, and he was like, oh, my God, what is wrong with this woman? Back in those days, I don't even know if they had CPS or any of those people that'll come out and check your mom out if they think she's crazy and stuff. But I mean, my mom was just hilarious that way. I mean, I remember, it's an old story. My sisters always talk about it. We were on a car ride. I forget where we were going, but I was pissing my mother off. And I told her, I don't remember what I told her, but she said to me, if you don't knock your shit off, I'm going to pull over and let you out of this car. And I go ahead. I was a little shit. I was like, go ahead. I don't care. My mother hits the brakes, opens the door, get your ass out. I got out of the car, and being the little punk ass that I was, I did not even look at her. She starts driving away, and I literally turned around and started walking the opposite direction. And then I turned around, and she was gone, and I was all, right? And my sisters, I guess my mom told me later, your sisters were in the back seat crying, you can't leave him there. You got to go back and get Chucky. Go back and get Chucky. Yes, she came back and got me. She was just tired of my shit. But my mother was like Roseanne on the show, you know. She would say things like Roseanne said to us, you know, why don't you and your sister go out and play in the freeway? Take your brother with you, you know. She was just funny. So that always cracked me up. Let's look at our next one here. It says, I'm so old that I have dialed a rotary phone, listened to music on an 8-track, watched a black and white TV with metal rabbit ears, and went a whole day without even thinking about taking a picture of myself. Wow, there's a lot to be said in that one, isn't there? Because that was, again, back in the day, right? So some of you younger people don't know this, but back in the day when I was a kid, you had a black and white TV before they were color and stuff. Now, I had color TVs, but you still needed rabbit ears. Well, the rabbit ears were these antennas that went up in a V like this. And some people around my age will tell you this. The TV sucked, right? Because as it got old, it started to get all snowy or something, and you'd have to get up from the couch. You didn't have no remotes, none of this technology. Get up from the couch, smack the side of the TV. Oh, there it goes. Oh, good. It's back. Now I can see it again. Or if that didn't work, those rabbit ears I'm talking about, you had to be like, is it clear now? Can you see it? And it was ridiculous. I mean, me and my sisters grew up doing that our whole life. Homesick, eating chicken noodle soup. Best part of I Love Lucy, and it starts to go snowy, get out of the bed. Damn it, I want to see Lucy smash the grapes. What's going on? Yeah, you know, the old days and the old ways were not always fun. You guys haven't made. You don't even know. You kids today do not even know. So that kind of cracked me up. I thought that was a good one. And then I saw a picture toward the end of the week I wanted to share with you because there's a whole lot of 70s in this picture. And I was just discussing this with one of my one of my fellow bartenders at work this morning. I was talking about I grew up in the 70s and people make fun of the 70s. And I told her, I said, I'm going to tell you something. I grew up in the 70s and I had the time of my life. We weren't scared of anything in the 70s. You could play outside after dark in the 70s. There just weren't a lot of scary threats. The world was nicer. The neighborhoods were cooler. People were better. And it was just a whole different time. So when I hear people make fun of the 70s, I'm like, dude, I'm going to tell you something right now. The 70s were some of the best times of my life. I can smell the smells from them. I remember everything I did as a kid, pre-teenage, you know. They were great times. The bell bottoms, you know, the white shoes and the white belts. So here's kind of the picture I was talking about here. Now let's look at this real close. That basically looks like anybody's house in the 70s. This actually looks like my Nana's basement room where all the kids hung out, which we called the rumpus room. And I don't know why. I still have to research that. Maybe when I get cousin Maddie back on here, we'll find out why Nana called that the rumpus room. But that's where us kids were supposed to hang out. But look at the curtains, you guys. Look at the lamp. Look at the detail here. Look at the chick on the phone with her bell bottoms. She's got the old phone there with the cord. And those cords would get all tied up and tangled and knotted. And you'd have to be like pulling on them and stuff. And then that velour recliner kills me. But so when I look at that, that's nostalgia for me. And it takes me back. So I love that. I think it's great. I wanted to tell you, in my Nana's rumpus room, it was funny because back in those days, they did a lot of parties at the house with family and cousins and stuff. And my Nana and Papa had a bar down there in that rumpus room. Now, it's ironic that that's where the children would go to play, but we were pretty small at that time, and we wouldn't even thinking of, getting into booze. Now, later, when we were teenagers, and I know Cousin Matt did this because he had that as his room for a while, but Nana always had a lot of booze down there for the family parties and any kind of things they wanted to throw and do. And we would get into that booze. Oh, of course we did. Yes, we did. I never took a whole bottle of anything, though, and left the house with it to go party with my friends. And I think Matt did that. Matty, I'm talking to you. Next podcast with you, you're going to tell your story. But anyway, it was just in those days, it was a different time and a different place. So talking about that, later in my years, I think I was about 20 years old. Me and my best friend, Marty Grunke, would always hang out and go everywhere together. And we had a friend who lived above him, and his friend's name was Brian Blunt. Brian Blunt, his family owned a mortuary in Oakland, California. And I believe it was on Fruitvale Avenue. If y'all know Oakland at all, Fruitvale's right down there in the hood. It's down in the middle of all that. It didn't mean much to us because we all grew up around Oakland and we weren't really afraid of Oakland, but other people were definitely afraid of Oakland. And Fruitvale Avenue had some great taco places and food places and stuff. But anyway, Brian's mother owned a mortuary business there. So she had a mortuary. And I remember as a kid with Marty, we would call Brian, hey, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I can't go party with you guys this weekend. I have to go, watch the mortuary for my mom. So we're like, well, we'll come there and hang out with you. We'll spend the night there with you. And he's all, right on. So the first time I ever did this, you guys, it was a creepy old mortuary, right? Old cement building. And you go in there, and on the very top level of the mortuary, there was a living quarters. So his mom had living quarters up there, and it had 2 beds and a little kitchenette. I mean, it was like a little studio apartment up there, but you were in a mortuary, right? Being Catholic, that's kind of creepy, right? So me and Marty go there to spend the night with Brian. We go upstairs, and for a while we were drinking beers and smoking pot up there in the little living quarters area. And then we're all fucking buzzed, and he says, hey, let's go check out the mortuary. Well, it's dark. We're on Fruitvale Avenue in frickin' Oakland at nighttime, and we go down the stairs, and we go into the main mortuary. Well, it's a mortuary, so there's bodies displayed, right? There's one older gentleman who just passed, and he was prepped for a viewing the next day in his suit and everything. And we're like, with flashlights, and we're looking at him, and Marty takes his hand and kind of goes and smacks the guy's cheek, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Oh my God, that's sacrilegious. No, not funny. You cannot mess with the dead. I am so surprised that whoever that old dead guy was, he didn't just sit right up and slap Marty back in the face, which I would have shit my pants, but so it was just a really creepy place, right? And then it had another room that was like a basement thing. It was a sitting room to go grieve in or whatever. The whole place was just freaking creepy. But, when you're a teenager and you're smoking pot, you're drinking beers with your buddies, and one of them happens to own a mortuary you're going to spend the night in, you're going to run around and do some stupid shit. I'm not going to tell you I wasn't scared. It creeped me out. I felt okay when we were up in the living quarters area. But down in the actual mortuary itself, where bodies were laid out and displayed in caskets for the next day's, viewings or whatever, it was the craziest shit in the world. But hey, this is the kind of stuff you do when you're young. You do crazy ass stuff. So I just wanted to share that with you because I always laugh about it, and I talk about that story to everybody. We ended up spending the night. No little creepy things. Got up and started walking during the middle of the night or anything, but I did not go downstairs anymore after that first venture down there. And I'll always remember that we always laughed about it. And the interesting thing was no one had ever broke into that building, ever, because typically most people in their right freaking mind do not want to go near a mortuary at night, not even to try and break in and steal anything. You know what I'm saying? We're the only idiots that wanted to do that. Well, we didn't want to break in, but we're the only idiots to spend the night in one. I still can't believe it, 63 years old, that I even did that. If you asked me tonight, my friend asked me to come hang out at a mortuary where he's working, I'd be like, yeah, no. You can come by on Sunday and have some food or something, but I'm not going there. Yeah. Stay away from the mortuaries, you guys. Don't do that. It's bad juju. And I'm surprised it never came back to haunt any of us, but I guess it didn't. You know, it's been a little bit since we've done this, but you know what time it is? It's time for some pop news. We have not had any in a while. Let's jump into it. Video Bumper. Song always cracks me up. So pop music, great song, and it's perfect for my little pop news section here. There's some really crazy stuff in the pop news this week, and I want to share it with you guys because I was tripping off a little bit of it. So let's start right here. Rest in peace, Joe Don Baker. That's who this is. If y'all can't see it on YouTube, Joe Don Baker did a series of films called Walking Tall in the 70s and then early 80s. I even think that possibly, let's see, who else did Walking Tall? Chuck Norris, maybe, and another actor. I can't think of his name. But Joe Don Baker was the original Walking Tall, and he passed this week. And I believe he was 90-something years old. So God bless him. Rest in peace, Joe Don Baker. That was a cool movie. He'd take that wooden bat around and bust some people up and stuff like that. They were great films, the Walking Tall films. And some of you, I'm sure, remember Joe Don Baker. So that was the first part of pop news I wanted to share with you. And then I read this and I couldn't believe it because I was obsessed with the film Jaws when it came out. My mother used to drive me to a little theater called the Plaza 1 and 2 down in San Leandro, California in the East Bay. And every weekend I would go watch that film over and over and over again. Because first of all, I was a movie buff. I was interested in the special effects. I was interested in the acting part of it. But this is telling us that Jaws is returning to theaters in 4K as a part of a 50th anniversary celebration. Universal Pictures is releasing the film in a limited theatrical run nationwide from August 29th to September 4th, 2025. So I knew everything about this film. I loved Jaws. It scared the crap out of me. It scared the crap out of America when it came out. Of course, one of Steven Spielberg's first films, I think after Duel with Dennis Weaver. But they had a lot of problems making this film. They were haunted by a lot of bad juju. When they were shooting on the water, they had a lot of problems with Bruce the shark. That was the shark's name. It was a mechanical shark, of course, most of us know. But that thing was constantly breaking down. Robert Shaw, who played Quint, was over drinking all the time, and that was a problem. I mean, they had a lot of issues. What's crazy is that film turned out to be an icon film for Mr. Spielberg and all those actors. One of my favorite actors playing Chief Brody there, of course, was Roy Scheider. You had Richard Dreyfuss, right, as the marine biologist that comes in. This was not a boating accident. It was a shark attack. I mean, it's just the best freaking movie ever. So, listen, I'm excited it's going to be back on the big screen again. It's a limited time. So, if you were a fan of Jaws, if you're a fan of Spielberg and movies and all that, go see it again in a movie theater, because some of you only saw this film on your TVs at home. And I don't even care if you have an 80-inch TV. You need to see Jaws in the full glory on a movie screen with the sound quality that we have today. It's a brilliant, brilliant film. One of my favorites of all time. So I'm definitely going to go do that. Also in pop news this week, this is really cool. Check it out, you guys. So I grew up near Oakland. My family were avid Oakland Raider fans, still are. And I grew up with my grandparents taking their motorhome to the Oakland Coliseum and all the tailgate parties and stuff like that. I mean, it was crazy shit. Al Davis days, even before that. But this is really cool. Nicolas Cage. There's a picture of him here I'm showing for those of you that can see it. It says he's unrecognizable as John Madden, the former coach, of course, of the Oakland Raiders. And they've got a side-by-side picture of him. He also looks like Donald Trump a little bit. The body, at least, right? I think so. Look at it. Yeah. But listen, this is pretty exciting because John Madden was a hell of a coach. Everyone knows who John Madden was. He was an amazing coach. He led the Raiders to so many victories and stuff. And he was a brilliant man. He lived in Danville, California. I lived in San Ramon, right next door. And you could see him at a little Mexican restaurant there in San Ramon every once in a while, eating dinner and stuff. What a nice man. What an amazing man. Of course, he's passed. But I am so stoked to know that Nicolas Cage is taking on this role. Because, last time we talked about Nicolas Cage, do you remember? It was the movie Longlegs. And I played those little sound bites for you where he was like, Mommy, Daddy. And my mother-in-law, who we're moving out close to in North Carolina, she was here visiting, and she kind of was doing that the whole week she was here because I had talked about that Nicolas Cage movie and how creepy he was and how unrecognizable. I'm super glad Nick's doing John Madden, though, so I don't have to think of him in the Longlegs, movie anymore. Because that movie was just fucking weird and he was weird in it. I mean, Nick can be weird anyway. You guys remember a lot of his movies. But I am excited he's doing that one. And then, of course, this little tidbit made me kind of happy. And here you got Steve Perry and Willie Nelson, and they're releasing a duet version of Journey's song, Faithfully. How cool is that? I think it's great. So 3 things in pop news that tripped me out this week. Jaws coming back out to the theater. Nicolas Cage going to play John Madden at the Oakland Raiders. And then you got Willie and Steve Perry from Journey, and they're going to do a duet of Faithfully. And I'm sure it's going to be a lot different. And I don't know if you guys have seen, there's a couple TikToks and things of Willie Nelson and his 2 sons that also sing and play. And they're brilliant. And the 3 of them together with their dad in the middle, look it up on YouTube or something. Check out Willie and his sons. But that's exciting right there because that's pretty cool. I am very eager to kind of hear what Steve Perry does with Willie Nelson. And Willie's, he's getting up there, man. But all that pot smoking, I think, is maybe helped him a lot. So it's been a little bit since I've done a new product thing where I pick a new product that they're making out there and I bring it on the show and then I eat it and tell you whether I think it sucks or whether it's good. We've done a couple of them. We did the Post Malone Oreo cookies. We did Kit Kat cereal. We've done a bunch of different ones. But I found a new one. And I'm going to show it to you right now. There it is. Limited edition. This is Lay's potato chip chronics is what they're called, and they are kettle cooked. For those of you that can't see, it's obviously a bag of Lay's potato chips, and it shows 3 big ass green buds of marijuana, and it says chronic, kettle cooked, limited edition. Well, I really wanted to get that bag of chips or chronics or whatever the hell's in that bag and open them here and share them and review the product for you. I could not find them anywhere. So obviously it's just a meme that somebody did or AI or some shit. But if I ever find them, I make this promise to you right now. I will try the chronic chips. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on with me this week. We'll probably be back with Cousin Matt. I won't be up there live in his bar with him next week, but I will get the link out to him and he will share the screen with me. And he's got some more Mexican words of the day to share with you. He sent me some stuff tonight that I looked at before I started this episode, and I was cracking up all by myself here. Of course, I always like to have my Matty with me because my cousin's my cousin. He's my blood. He's funnier than shit, and it always is funnier to have 2 people. So I hope you have a great week coming up. It's starting to get hot where I am. It's going to start getting hot everywhere. So brace yourself for a really hot summer. we got more to share with you and more laughs to be had. I'm Chuck Oliveris, and this is We Need to Talk About This. Love you guys. See you next week.